When you start to paint a football field, there's a lot of lines on there. Matter of fact, there's a lot of lines on the football field. They're not even included in this diagram. So where do you start? How do you paint them? The first thing to do is to paint the perimeter of the football field. The perimeter of the football field must be square, a 90-degree corner at each edge, be straight, and follow the dimensions. Everyone knows that a football field is 100 yards long, but that's just a measurement between end zone and end zone. A football is actually a total of 120 yards long, or 360 feet from corner to corner, and 160 feet from the back, from sideline to sideline. Moreover, each football field has field goal posts located center and just about 4 inches or so behind each goal line. Behind the back and sideline. So, it is important not only to have these lines straight, having the same dimensions, have everything square, have these back of the end zone be sitting squarely in between and centered with the goalposts. It's a lot to take in, but it can be done using non-precise equipment such as strings, stakes, and then precision equipment such as a tape measure. The best place to start is to measure in between your goalposts. You should have just over 360 feet and center it up so that way your back lines are even from the goalpost. Then you're going to measure out 80 feet or half of 160 feet each direction. So here, here, and then from this goalpost, this direction, and this direction. And go ahead and place down a stake. Those stakes are going to serve as your 4 corners. Now, the next part is we got to level out or square up the football field because we not only want these lines to be straight on the back side, and not only do we want these corners of this corner to be up to 360 feet that it's supposed to be, but we want everything to be square. How do we do that? We use a rule called the 3-4-5 rule. 3-4-5 rule includes using your stake at the corner of each end zone and measuring out a 30-foot leg, which would take you to the end zone or the goal line, and then measuring out a 40-foot leg. Next, you're going to use a tape measure to measure across. When the hypotenuse in between these two legs of the triangles is 50 feet, this corner is square. We'll do this with each corner until the entire perimeter is square and is the correct measurement. It is suggested that once you get this, you mark those corners with something permanent, such as a stake that is marked in the ground you can find on the metal detector, or a T-flex nozzle that you can find on any sporting goods website. Afterwards, we're going to use line and stakes to mark the perimeter of the football field. We will go from each corner, we'll move around the perimeter of the football field and mark the perimeter. This will take 1 day. Normally when we paint the football field, when this gets to be habit, this won't take very much time at all. But for the first time, we'll go slow and we'll have multiple students out. Next, it's important to then measure out 30 feet from the back of the goal line and find our goal line, and then measure out every 15 feet or 5 yards to find the 5, 10, 15, and so on goal. It's best if you use several stakes and several strings to mark at least halfway through the field at once, and then check your work coming back the next way to make sure that this 50 yard mark is truly center of the field. Lastly, as we have students moving these lines and painting these lines, we're going to have a few extra students that may not have a job. And if that's the case, we'll have them prep for the next lesson. We'll get a yellow or blue or just any non-white aerosol can that we have. I'm going to measure out first 27 feet from the back of the end zone, and we're just going to make a line on the outside. And then 53 feet 4 inches from the sideline back of the end zone. And then another 53 4 inches coming this direction. And then another 27 feet coming this direction. You can see how these lines kind of correlate with the hashes and the top of the numbers. We'll do this on both sides. This will allow us to be prepped to make lines going across for where we're going to set the numbers and the hashes. It should be noted that this is for an 11-man high school field according to NFHS regulations. Some states like Texas do not follow NFHS rules, but most states. An 8-man field is going to be slightly different. If you're painting an 8-man field, your field is not going to be as long or as wide. You're going to take off a full 20 yards, as a 40-yard line is the center. So it's going to be 80 yards from each end zone or goal line. And then your field is not going to be 160 feet wide, it's going to be 120, meaning that the lines are hash marks, rather than 53 4 inches, are even split 40 feet. The numbers, however, do not change.